So, what if what if the all the talk about eugenics actually was something that came up during the Federation? That would be one explanation of how they basically maintain societal order. I mean, if you've weeded out all the problem people, you're not going to have malcontents out there who are having issues with the whole, getting bored with being the best they can be.
Ooh, dark.
Well, I mean, it's part of their history. They did have eugenics.
Yeah. Although they say they rejected it.
Well, yeah, after they got rid of all the bad elements.
Yeah. I mean, uh, it's hard to say that the Federation doesn't have the technology to maybe pull that off. It's
Well, I mean,
ooh,
okay, if they're at the advanced medical stages, they are. So at the very least, okay, they're going to be, oh, okay, hey, you're pregnant. Okay, let's do a scan of the fetus in there, and like, oh, look, yeah, it's got a cleft chin gene. So yeah, let's go ahead and okay, get that out of there. And oh, yeah, there's that gene that makes someone a psychopath. Well, let's get that out of there. And oh yeah, and there's the one that that makes a person horribly depressed because they're just not okay. I mean, they don't openly talk about what the traits are, but obviously they don't. I mean, because everybody is more or less a physical perfect specimen. So at some point, even if they're not talking about eugenics, they got to be practicing it on some level. Maybe not eliminating the bad fetuses, but altering them till they make the grade. And if you're gonna deal with the physical, why wouldn't you deal with the problems that would be mental for a society as well?
um, it's really interesting. You don't see anybody with Downs in the Federation, but Picard is bald.
You can,
That's weird. That's an interesting choice, right?
yeah,
We say, well, no, we're going to keep the baldness gene. We're going to throw out any genetic conditions that, Huntington's is gone, and, good on it for that. That's
yeah.
great. But um, do you think that Picard is bald so it looks like they're not doing that? I, is
Uh,
this a cover? Like, no, we got to have some human flaws.
well, maybe it's not looked at as a flaw because I mean, if you look at baldness in societal terms, I mean, when we were younger, it was a lot bigger problem than it is now. I mean, back then, the most horrific thing in the world was to be a bald person. And nowadays, people join
I
baldness.
shave my head.
Yeah, people join baldness voluntarily, so it's no longer an issue. So it's an aesthetic issue that's changed. So I could see baldness not uh, being at a point where it could be aesthetically pleasing if to certain people it's like, oh, this is the way I want to look. I could have hair if I wanted to.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, like I just got to go in and see a doctor, but this is how my family worked, and that's fine. And yeah, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, see, that's the thing.
Um,
I know it's a little out there, but I mean, that's the part have trouble understanding is the how does the Federation stay how does the population stay mellow? Because you definitely don't hear about uprisings or anything else like that. You don't hear about discontent. Crime is more or less non-existent. So they've
yeah.
obviously done something. It could be part of the educational system. It could be prenatal screening to an extent, uh, societal conditioning. I mean, it could be like the Swedenization of the entire planet. We're all one
Well,
big happy society.
yeah. I mean, the thing about them being too crazy in the genetic manipulation is they make a huge deal about the Borg. The Borg is the big bad
Mm-hmm.
throughout most of Star Trek. And this is a clear push against at least a certain brand of transhumanism.
Yeah.
Um, you know, which at least on the surface of it, the Federation's not down with. They're like, no, this is not what we want to do. They don't want to join the Borg, and they don't want a society like the Borg. So I guess there's a limit to how much they're willing to do. Like, are they going to stop Huntingtons and Downs? Yes. Maybe they do something dark like that. And again, these are the propaganda videos of the Federation. So
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
they might be lying about all of this. That would be actually if somebody. Well, no one make a show. In theory, if there were good people that could make shows right now, it would be fun to see something from like the Klingon perspective of, what do they think about the Federation? What do they actually see? And they're like, oh yeah, they do messed up stuff.
Yeah.
They mess with people's genetics in a weird way.
Yeah. And we just take our deformed children and put them out on a rock somewhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, smart aleck.
Or we we do a certain amount of genetic engineering to ensure that people don't have those genetic defects, so that we have strong warriors or whatever. And the Vulcans make sure that they don't have any, uh, mental problems of any kind, because that would be horrifying to a Vulcan, right?
Yeah.
They, they want to be completely in control of their brains, and they don't want any genetic condition to get in the way of that. Although it does, apparently.
I'm sorry, you're just giving me a vision here where yeah, it's logical, yeah.
Yeah, it wouldn't work out.
Yeah. I mean, but the thing is at a certain point, what if your medical technology is that advanced, you know, when is eugenics stop being evil and start being a good? I mean, obviously it's a bad when you're like killing people after they're born, but if if you're not actually just flushing bad fetuses and you're correcting them, have you done that bad of a thing?
I don't know. And these are very much individual morality calls, I think, here, because like some people would be like, okay, if you're trying to stop people from having a horrible genetic disease, yes. If you're just doing this to make sure your kid's eyes are blue, no. Like, like how plastic surgery was invented after World War I to put back together the horribly disfigured GIs. And you think, yes, of course, you should do that. But now it's just made to look old women look like weird lizard people. It's um, I don't know if I'm morally opposed to either of those, but I can understand people's arguments right there and be like, oh no, one is purely restorative and the other one is a weird vanity project. And then once you start getting, and that's just for the, physical things. We go into like actual mental problems. Like who decides uh, about ADHD or autism or anything like that?
Oh, the
Is
Vulcans, because
that,
they don't want that happening at all.
yeah, I would assume so, right? They don't. They're like, no, that's not how we want to be. Let's cut that right out. I would assume they'd have to, but it's very weird. You'd have to just hope, I guess, the Federation's morality is in line with what yours is.
Well, if
If you
they've
want to
got
join the
control of the
Federation,
education system, the medical system, and everything else, it will be.
yeah, I guess you wouldn't know that anything's bad.
Yeah, because you'd be taught in school, oh yeah, before the Federation, here's how horrible things were, and now everything's great. You know how great it is.
Yeah, so the only way you would know is being an outside observer to throw some light on the situation.
Yeah, you'd have to be one of those cryogenic people coming back from 200 years ago, see it from the outside. Yeah, because I mean, okay, so we're kind of talking about some of the menial jobs, and I was thinking about a couple of, like, for instance, in the, I think it was the second or third Star Trek movie, where uh, they're using it's Search for Spock. So they're basically getting ready to steal the Enterprise, and they're using Uhura to basically take over a transport station so they can get to it. And so that's her job, and she's with this other guy, and the guy's like going, I don't know how you could end up working down here after flying in space. It's got to be really boring and blah blah blah. You're like past your prime and all that, and you know, like I said, because they have not done incredible automation, these are things they would actually need people for. And
Yeah.
how do you motivate people? I mean, even with just pure education, motivate people to go, well, yeah, this is the, I mean, this is really the new Soviet man, somebody who's just thrilled to do the job they've been handed to him because it's for the greater good of society. You know, how do you achieve that uh, in a matter of with a true free society?
Well, okay. But that point kind of goes against the idea that they would be doing genetic manipulation like that, because then why wouldn't they just make everybody super intelligent?
Because
Unless they're unless
super intelligent people don't want to run a transporter for their life.
oh, so there's a genetic caste system, is what you're saying.
I'm inferring it.
So there's like, okay, here's these dummies that are going to be our doormen,
Yeah.
and,
No,
and here's these
I'm not
people.
suggesting they're going full Brave New World on them or anything else like that. But I mean,
Not out loud. No, that's actually a very interesting point. They don't say anything out loud, but like, oh, oh, that's dark. They're like, okay, well, or is that what they just do? They just be like, oh, you come from a low IQ family. We can tell in utero that you're going to be, room temperature IQ. So therefore, you're going to be door guy, and we're just going to push you towards that.
yeah, you train them and basically pump them up their whole life, going, yeah, society. Society stops running if you're not working that door. Because I mean, that's what the Federation needs. And you're a critical cog. You're every bit as important as a starship captain.
Oh, the socialists would be so mad about this.
Well, if all goes well.
Because this doesn't align, but I can see it. Yeah, maybe I yeah. They don't have robots, but they do have things that are kind of automated. Like there's a certain amount of self repair in the ship. Sort of, I feel that there would be there, or at least there's redundancies.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of things going on. I mean, it's like almost beyond electronic at that point because they really don't get into how circuits and everything work. And it almost seems like they're almost like liquid circuits where they can almost program them from afar to do what they need them to do.
Yeah, when you can just pull power to make things work better in a certain area of the ship, that's kind of crazy. Um, like, oh, we'll pull power to weapons to make our weapons more powerful, but then we'll go back to shields and make shields more powerful.
Oh, what do you think? Clearly, if you look at the various iterations of Star Trek, you see pretty much nothing that could be considered a defect, with perhaps maybe the exception of Geordi and his visor. So if all these physical defects no longer exist, there's at least some form of medical intervention going on. Could it be that they're also intervening in genes that contribute to psychological problems, violence, crime, etc.? What do you think? Comment below. Tell us what you think. Please smash the like button. If the YouTube algorithm has brought you here and you're not one of my regular subscribers, please check out my titles. We get into a lot of different things here. You can consider subscribing. And if you know someone who'd find this interesting, please share it with them. Thank you for spending time with us this evening.